All right, and we are live. Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Ashley Gagne. You can see it right there. I'm going to be bringing you the news every single week, Monday. It's going to be the latest news in wholesaling, all the good stuff. It's going to get better as the weeks go on, I promise. If you have any submissions or anything you want to hear about, just tell me in the comments. We're going to be having my business partner up here in a little bit telling us about some amazing things that are going on in the market, what people are doing, what wholesaling is all about, and it should answer some questions you may have. So first, we got to talk about the new rules and regulations, their laws, whatever you want to call them. But they're coming up, you guys, as we are exiting 2024 and entering into 2025. There is going to be a lot of things changing, right? So we have to mold with the times, because if we don't, that could be bad for us. We could lose money, or, even worse, end up behind bars. So first of all, we got to talk about the different states that will be going through the changes. So we got Alabama. Okay, that's going to be more of like a transparent state. You have to disclose to the sellers what you're doing, right? So if you're going to be assigning a contract, you've got to tell them. And there's awesome ways you can do that where it doesn't sound scary to a seller, because they're new with this. They don't understand it like you or I do. Illinois is going to be a license only state. So, if you're going to be working in a license only state and you don't have a license, you might want to get somebody that has a license on your team. Super important. Next up, Oklahoma, you guys. That's going to be another licensed state. Texas, it's gonna require a license or working with a licensed broker. So there may be some ways around that license. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to see as 2025 enters and when all these laws really get, presented to us. Georgia is gonna require a license or a collaboration with a broker. So same thing, right? Just, I guess, different wording. Ohio is you're going to have a valid real estate license. So if you're just an investor, and I hate to say just investor because I love being an investor, but if you are an investor, wholesaler, and you don't have a license, these are going to be some of the states that are going to be super hard to wholesale in, you guys. So you really got to pay attention. Florida, it's going to be illegal to without a state issued license or broker involvement. So teaming up with a broker, real estate agent, it's not scary, you guys. It's just molding with the times. So, and there's a few more states, you guys, that are wholesaling is either going to be illegal in or heavily regulated. And these states are Maryland, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Okay. So this is what I'm getting. I don't know. I'm hoping some of these are a little bit off because I really enjoy wholesaling in a few of these states. Like I said, in previous lives, I just recently went national. Love it. And we're going to have to ask Shawn about some stuff about that. But before we even, bring Shawn on, and I know this is a very shorter news introduction to what we'll be doing every week, but bear with me. It'll get better every week. I promise. All right. Mortgage rates update. Do you think we can have a prediction for next year? It's super hard, you guys. If you look back and just look at the different rates and when they've changed, and they changed by it might be like 6.56, and now we're down to 6.50. It's like, what does that take off your monthly mortgage bill? Like $20? I don't know. Probably not enough to really do much. Like, we need it to drop 3%, right? I don't know if that'll ever happen. We would really need a recession or something very heavy to happen for it to go back down into the fives. I truly believe, and a lot of the gurus are saying. So we'll see. 15-year mortgage rates are 6.10% up from last week's at 6.02. So they are going up slightly, but again, not enough to where you're really going to see that much of a difference on your mortgage. your monthly mortgage bill. Just pay attention, you guys, because these interest rates do have a lot to do with, is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Which one is it? Rates do affect that. I truly look at it and I'm like, it's kind of always a buyer's or seller's market, right? If you're a seller and we're wholesaling those deals, typically they're motivated. So it really wouldn't matter if it's a buyer's market. They're motivated. There's pain there. But they do affect. I think the election had a lot to do with some stuff holding back. Actually, I know it did. And if you're calling sellers and getting, oh, I want to wait until the election's over, I'm sure you did. I had probably at least 50 to 60% of my seller calls were those. So just pay attention, because again, we have to mold with the times, and there are some major changes coming up for 2025. Don't be scared. Just know how to mold with the time or be left behind. All right, let's bring Shawn on and see what he has to say about the upcoming market. Maybe what he likes better. Does he like, doing some backyard deals, or does he enjoy going national? And what's the difference? What is the difference of going, I live in Maine, going to California and doing a deal over there? Or should I just stay in my backyard? Shawn, why don't you come on up and tell us?
Yo, what is up, guys? Like Ashley said, just going to be talking real quick about backyard wholesaling versus virtual, internet, or national. So pros and cons to both, right? I personally, I don't lean one way or the other. I like doing deals in my backyard. I like properties that I can go see, walk, talk to the sellers, belly to belly sales. I think that's always going to, beat out phone sales personally. But there are real good pros to going completely virtual. I have a good friend that wholesales and he exclusively works West Coast time. That's because he has a 9 to 5 and he has kids. He has a family. So by the time the kids get down to bed and everything, it's 8, 9 o'clock at night for him. So he makes calls to the West Coast because at that time it's 5 o'clock. People are getting home from work. So there really are pros and cons to both. I personally like doing deals in my backyard because I have a bigger buyers list in my backyard, right? So that means better assignment fees, better communications on deals. Like we just put a deal under contract today where I really wasn't too sure about what we should offer. ARVs were kind of all over the place. Comps were tough. Walked to the property with my buyer. He said, "Hey, I need to be at 135." We locked it up for 115. It's super easy when you have good relationships with your buyers. And I think that's easier to do in your backyard because you can go to the local real estate meetups. You can, connect with more agents. You're probably just doing more business with people in your backyard versus it's tougher to build relationships online when you can't get into the right rooms. So realistically, it's personal preference. What fits your lifestyle? What do you want? I think for us, when you're trying to do this business at scale, and I'm talking, 5+ deals a month, I think it is much easier to do that virtually because you're not in a bunch of competition in your one little local market with every other mom and pop investor. You get more motivated leads across the country. We saw this in our business probably a year ago where we were like, we kind of tapped out our local market unless we wanted to dump a lot of money into lead generation, which we really didn't want to do at the time. So that's where something like an iSpeed to lead, a PPL, JVing with people in other states, that's where that can be incredibly helpful to get in front of more motivated sellers without having to spend a ridiculous amount on marketing. If you're at that point where, you can drop that, 10, 20, 30 grand a month on PPC marketing, by all means, go crush it in your backyard. But if you're just starting out and you kind of have a tighter budget, maybe you're still working that 9 to 5 and you're trying to get this side hustle going to being your full-time gig, something like going virtual and picking, one market that you can really hone in on out of state and, leveraging something like an iSpeed to lead or another PPL platform. I think that can be super, super beneficial. But if it was me, and I know a lot of people are new at this, if I was trying to get the cheapest deal possible, where I'm talking $0 in marketing, don't have to hire a cold caller, don't have to do any of that, I would be door knocking in my backyard. If I was just trying to be as cheap as possible and trying to get a deal done for $0, that's what I would be doing personally. But if I'm trying to make the most amount of money possible, I think that's what we're all in this game for, is to make the most amount of money we actually can. I'm going virtual. I'm utilizing a PPL platform, and I'm getting in front of more motivated sellers, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to talk about cash conversion cycles. How fast is that deal closing? How fast are you getting paid? Sometimes it's tough to do that in a really small niche market because there's only so many of those needle in the haystack sellers where they want to sell for cash, they want to sell at a really good discount, and they want to close in 30 days. Sometimes that can be tough in your backyard. You might live in a really high-end neighborhood or a high-end town area where not a lot of people are motivated to sell. So you might have to take your business virtual. It's personal preference, really. There's pros and cons to each. I don't really think there's a right way to go or a wrong way to go. I think it just comes down to the basics of wholesale is learn to talk to people, get really good at comping and understanding that market so you can be confident in your offer, and then network with buyers in that area or utilize somebody that has buyers in that area. But that's just a brief, very high level overview of virtual versus backyard wholesaling. Again, pros and cons to each. I don't like one over the other. I really do enjoy both of them. I do both of them in my business. There's just, there's different ways to skin a cat. There's different ways to go about it. It just comes down to what is right for you and your situation and where you're at in your business. If you're just starting out, maybe it's your backyard to get more familiar, making offers, talking to sellers, just getting your feet wet. If you are trying to scale your business and maybe bump into that, 4+ deal a month range, it might be a little bit easier for you to go fully virtual because you're going to be able to talk to more motivated sellers and have those quicker cash conversion cycles. But that's it for me on virtual versus backyard wholesale. Like Ashley said, every single Monday, I believe 6 o'clock, we're going to be talking about different niche topics. Ashley's going to be bringing you the latest and greatest on what's going on in the industry. Sometimes it's going to be about how the industry is changing. Sometimes there's going to be drama, but just tune in every Monday, 6 o'clock, and come hang out with us.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing too. We brought up how Pace Morby had dropped a video a couple weeks ago, and I asked you to put it in the comments who you thought it was about. So I'm going to tell you who I think it's about, and I'm still waiting for this person to clap back, and we know this person's going to clap back. So we're talking about RJ Bates, right? So RJ Bates, he's pretty good at what he does, and I'm still waiting for that video drop. Not sure if it's dropped yet. If it has, tell me in the comments. Don't forget to hit that smash that like button like that, and subscribe. You have to subscribe, right? That way you get all of the notifications. Turn on notifications. That's how you get them. But I'm super excited to bring you drama and live news every single week, but the top news. Again, don't forget to engage in the comments network all the time. We love you so much. Bye, guys.
Peace.